happy for them is, really happy. Some of this is really probably overwhelming for that position. Secondary sometimes is not the highest paid position in the NFL, but and some of those kids are getting that kind of money. It's a great reflection on the whole program and especially on themselves.
Do you still communicate with any of them?
Oh yeah, all the time.
All the time?
Yep, all the time.
What's the dynamic of this group like now?
Now?
We lose a couple of key leaders back there.
Well, right now it's inconsistent. If you asked me Friday, I was all happy. Now it's Monday. Now I'm kind of wondering, walking around in a daze a little bit. But maybe that's to be expected after a couple days off. But the dynamics, if there's anything, is there's a lot of guys that care and they're practicing hard. That's the first step for me. Getting them lined up. I don't have to get them lined up and really ready to go till we open up our first game. So I'll worry about that later. Right now it's about playing hard and fundamentally being sound, things like that. We're working on it. We got some work to do.
Obviously, Eric didn't end last year the way he wanted to. Have you noticed a change in his mentality or his maturity coming into this season?
I think there's some humbleness in him. It's easier to get on him, and he really realizes that he made a huge error, and it was reflected by his time away. I mean, you have to watch those games on TV. That's not easy to do. And obviously, I hope there's a strong hunger to be a better man.
Appreciate it. What about I wanted to ask you about Cisse. It seems like this is the time of year when we can't watch practices, and a lot of people don't know a name like that right now. But his name's come up a bunch by some of his peers.
Well, it's easy. He's a work in progress. All these freshmen go through a period. There's very few of them like an EFO that can come in here and play, even a redshirt freshman. So, as time goes, I figure out more and more things that they got to get better at, and we really try to teach the details as we move on. And I spent all day Friday doing nothing but watching technique film. I didn't watch any 7-on-7 or team. I watched individual performances, and it was a long meeting. I mean, we got a long way to go in those things, and they're freshmen, so they still got some time. There's a lot of adjustments going on right now.
Speaking of EFO,
yeah.
I mean, he amps up. Obviously, coming back instead of going to the NFL, what's his improvement been like?
EFO is a really special player for anybody, and everything he does is so. What our football team has, and what I have as a position coach, is I've got someone I can point to and say, look, this is how you do it. This is how you train. This is how you do your technique. This is how you finish. This is how you listen. This is how you learn. And I don't know if there can possibly be anyone better than him. I'm sure there's some guys like him out there, but he's an A+ right now for this football program.
Coach Helfrich mentioned that there was found a lot of stuff with the guys over the first 2.5 weeks of practice. I'm curious, does your position group, do you feel at about where you expected them to be right now? Do you think
I actually think we're quite a bit ahead of the curve in terms of the amount of information we've given them and how they've been able to handle it. Now the details are happening. You look at a big picture, you get lined up, and you sort of know what you do. And then you get a little more detail, and there's a little bit more going on. Then there's a little bit more, and then, really get precise and exact. It takes some time. So we're going to be going through that this week until we scrimmage, and then we'll really kind of separate the men from the boys.
For a guy like Dominic Harrison coming in, a JC guy who has experience at a higher level but may not be as familiar with the system as, say, even a guy who's spent a year just studying scout team, that type of thing, how has it been for him to grasp kind of coming into the system? You've heard a lot of positive stuff about his workout and work ethics, but in terms of grasping the system,
it's just like a true freshman.
Is it?
Yeah, they don't know the system. They're learning terminology. They're learning how to play hard for the first time, and no one understands that. They think they do. Their coaches think they do. But what we've, again, attempt to do at Oregon is to really push the envelope. And so all of a sudden those guys get pushed, and they're a new guy. And all of a sudden he's got to deal with that, and he's got to deal with it all the time. And he's a great attitude kid, so he's going to prosper in this program. So we'll see what happens. He's in the midst of it right now, very beginning stages.
Which says more about grasping a scheme thing, or
Everything.
Like a terminology?
No, I think it's everything. No, it's just, playing hard and finishing and breaking bad habits, some habits, looking back for the ball when you're beat. Simple high school things like that you got to get it out of their system and train them and tell them, ask them, do you even know what you're doing? Because a lot of times they don't know. They just don't know what they're doing wrong. So it's our job to enforce it.